Hey, everybody. Good evening. Happy Sunday. I am Gina. I'm here with Advantage College Planning, and tonight we're going to be talking about all of the students who have been receiving decisions. There are lots of different outcomes of those admissions decisions, and sometimes students receive a decision from a college that they have been deferred. So tonight we are going to be talking about that a little bit. What does it mean if a student has been deferred, if their admissions decision has been deferred? So I'm excited to talk about that. I know that students have been getting lots of decisions lately, been getting lots of emails and questions about deferral. So I thought this would be a good time to hop on. If you can, as you're joining, welcome. Come on in the chat. If you just want to say hello, let me know where you're viewing from. Let me know what year your student is. So if you have a senior, if you have a junior, if you're a student yourself and you're on here, let me know. That would be really great. And we're going to go ahead and get started in just a minute. Yay, welcome everyone. Great. Yeah, so if you can hear me, let me know that the sound is coming through by just putting your information in the chat. Awesome. All right, so we've got people here from North Raleigh. Fabulous. Welcome. Yes, if you want to just put that information in there. Tonight we are going to be talking about deferral. So what to do if your student has been deferred and they've received that decision. So I'm excited to talk about that tonight. And great, watching from Raleigh, son is a senior. Great. All right, this will be super relevant for you. And then, anyone who's joining, if you have a student who's a little bit younger, this will just be helpful for you to have knowledge moving forward about these admissions decisions. So as we're going through, you can certainly put your comments in the chat. Any questions that you have, I'll be able to see those and we'll be able to address those tonight. And we'll be able to go through them. Sometimes I'll answer them as we go. But again, tonight we're talking about deferrals. So let's go ahead and get started. So first, I want to talk about what does it mean if a student is deferred? Sometimes families and students don't even know that that's a thing, that that's a decision you could receive. So in college admissions, when a student applies to the college, there are a few different ways that that outcome could go when they get their decision. A student could be admitted. Yay, that's wonderful. We know they've been offered a spot at that college. A student could be deferred, which we're going to talk about. A student could be denied, which means, unfortunately, they're no longer being considered for admission at that school. And then further down the road, a student also could be waitlisted, which we'll do a whole nother session on that. So deferral basically means the college just wants some more information. It means they're not ready to make a decision yet. So unfortunately for the student, that does mean a little bit more waiting, but the good news is that doesn't mean that they've been denied, right? So they're still just in a little bit of that stressful holding pattern, but it just means not yet. You can't have a decision yet. You have to keep waiting a little bit longer. So why do colleges do this to students? It sounds terrible. It's very stressful for them. They're just waiting for their decisions and now they've been deferred. And I can completely understand why that's really stressful for students who just want to know what their options are going to be. There are a lot of reasons why colleges defer students. Sometimes it's because the college has a deadline for when materials need to be received. So you have your application deadline, which is a specific date. And then there's another deadline. It could be the same as the application deadline, or it could be a week or two later that the college needs to have the materials by in order to release that student's decision with the early action batch of decisions. So those additional materials would include their transcript, their test scores if they're sending them, letters of recommendation, anything like that. If the college didn't receive all of those materials by whatever their materials deadline was, then the student just gets bumped to the next review round, which is typically regular decision. Sometimes it's because the student has a really promising application, but the college just wants to see a little bit more information from them, or they want to see kind of what the rest of the pool is going to look like in that regular decision round before they make a decision. Sometimes it could be because a student maybe had a little bit of a bumpy academic record and, maybe sophomore year was really tough for them, or second semester junior year was really tough for whatever reason. And maybe the student addressed that in their essay or in their additional information section of the Common App. But now the college wants to see, Okay, you said that you've worked out the kinks. You said that you have turned things around and we're going to start seeing an upward trend. So let's see it, right? They want to see that the student is actually taking those action steps that they talked about maybe in their essay. Sometimes it's honestly because the college received so many applications in the early action round that they literally couldn't get through all of them. And there were so many, and so they made as many decisions as they could, and they ended up deferring the rest to regular decision, and they'll continue to work through them. So a lot of this are reasons that students don't really have a lot of control over, right? So I wouldn't take it too harsh if the student is deferred. It's not something you need to take personally, but it is just a piece of information, and then we're going to keep moving forward. So if your student has been deferred, there are a few steps that they should take in order to help create options for themselves as they move through this process. The first thing they should do is look to see, what is the college asking them to do? The students need to read the letter that was either uploaded into their application portal or mailed to your home. I know a lot of times students will log in, they'll see the portal, they'll see the decision that says deferred, they close the portal, and they read no further. That's a mistake. So they need to log back in after the dust is settled, and they need to read, what is the college asking me to do? Sometimes they might be asking the student to reaffirm their interest in the school by clicking a button that says, yes, please review my application for regular decision, or no, I'm no longer interested, you can withdraw my application, right? So if there's a button to push, make sure we're not missing that button in the portal. Also look to see, is the college asking for any specific information? So a lot of schools will say explicitly, please have your school counselor send your first semester transcript or your first semester grades once everything's been finalized in, January. If the student was taking a later SAT or ACT exam and they have a new score that they haven't submitted yet, they could go ahead and submit that. So look to see what the college is asking for first. I also recommend that the students reach out to their regional rep, especially if this is where, if you've made contact with your regional admissions representative, this is a great time to reach back out to that person and say, I'm still really interested in such and such college. Here are some of the reasons why I think I'm a good fit for the school, why the school's a good fit for me, right? You want it mutually to be a good fit. And then also update them on anything else that you have going on. So you're sending that transcript, or maybe you're sending new test scores, but maybe the student has a new position. I just talked with a student today who just became the captain of their cheer squad, right? And that wasn't something that we had to put on the application in August when we were applying, right? When she was submitting that application. So that would be something new to add to any new applications or to any schools you've been deferred to. Hey, just wanted to let you know, admissions rep, here are some things that have been going on with me. Here are some activities that are new that I've been involved in. We definitely want to keep it brief. Admissions officers are very busy this time of year. We are not trying to send a big, long 650-word personal essay again. Something really brief, one, maybe two maximum paragraphs. Try to keep it to one. Just very straightforward, but just checking in and reaffirming your interest in the school. The next thing I would recommend is reassess your college list. So for some students, being deferred from a school can be a little bit of a helpful bit of feedback. If this was a school that you had categorized as a likely for admission and you're being deferred, you might want to look at that and try to figure out, okay, why was I deferred? Did I think that my application was a little bit stronger than maybe it came across? This is a good time to assess, how do you feel about your options? Look at the schools that you've already heard back from. Are there any on that list that you are already in and you're excited and you'd be happy to attend one of the two of those schools? That's great. If you have a few more decisions to come, and those are also schools that you feel could go either way, you're not really sure, you're not 100% confident that those are likely schools, this might be a good time to think about adding one or two more likely schools onto your list. Those later January and February regular decision deadlines that colleges offer are perfect for this exact kind of information. So with a deferral, you're actually in a really good position because you're getting a chance to reassess your list. You still have plenty of time to make changes if you do want to add a few more schools. And just also really see, okay, how do I feel about my options? If I am left in May with a couple of schools I've already been admitted to, will I be really happy and ready to go to those schools? If not, now's the time to take some action. So another question that I get, I just want to make sure to clarify is, sometimes students will be really bummed and they'll say, okay, so basically deferred just means denied, right? Like essentially they're just telling me I'm denied. Wrong. No, if you were denied, the college would send you that decision, right? It doesn't serve the student, but it also doesn't serve the college to keep a student in their admissions process who realistically is not going to be a strong candidate for that school. They're just creating more work for themselves once they get to the regular decision round. Now they'll have to go through that application again. If realistically, even with a lot of additional information, the school doesn't feel that the student would be exactly the right candidate for that school, they will just go ahead and make that denial decision. And that gives everybody the chance to feel their feelings and move on. Deferred really truly means we just need some more information. So it's not a yes, it's not a no, it's just we need to wait and see. So the bottom line, if your student has been deferred, or if you are a student logged on right now and you have been deferred from a college, step one, it's not a denial. Take the action that the college is asking you to do, and then take this as an opportunity to have a little gut check on how you feel about the rest of your list. And then use the upcoming winter break in the early part of January, if needed, depending on deadlines, to submit a few more applications and round out your college list. If you can do those things, you're going to put yourself in a good position. You'll still have a lot of really great options come spring so that you can end up at the school where you're meant to be. And that's going to be the best fit overall for you and for your goals. So I'd love to open it up now for any questions that anyone may have. I know that this can be a little bit of a sensitive topic just because students are a little stressed about getting their decisions. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And while you're typing out your questions, I'll also let you know that I will be back on January 8th. So on January 8th, Sunday at 8 o'clock, we'll be talking about the 3 college fit factors. So for those of you who have seniors, this is a good time to remind seniors and have them start thinking about why they applied to these colleges in the first place, what makes those schools a good fit, and help them start to figure out what school will be the right one for them to choose. If you have younger students, it's good to start planning ahead and thinking about these different factors, because juniors are going to start building their lists once we get into 2023. So that's super exciting. All right, so Q&A, yes. So question about same applies to early decision deferrals too. Yep. So students could apply early decision and be deferred, and early action and be deferred. So both of those early application plans could result in a deferral to regular decision. And yes, both still apply. If a student applied early decision and they were deferred and not denied, then that means that the college does see something there that potentially could be a good fit on the student side and on the school side, but they do just need a little bit of additional information. So I would recommend following up in whatever way the school is requesting that the student do. Good question. Yeah, I did say early action, but early decision too would be the same. Yep, good questions. Awesome. Great. All right. Well, if you found this helpful, you can find a lot more of our information over on our website, advcp.com. You will be able to find more short videos from me. And we also have links to our blog as well as our podcast, College Planning Simplified. Lots of great resources over there. So definitely go ahead and check those out. And you'll also be able to sign up if you want to receive notifications from us about when we're doing Facebook Lives or when we post a new podcast or blog post. You'll be able to stay in the loop and be able to get the inside scoop from us. And I will see you hopefully back here on January 8th talking about college fit factors. I hope you all have a great night, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.